My name is Isabel, and welcome back to my channel. If you follow me on any social media, you probably know that recently I took a trip to the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. It was a lot of fun, and I wanted to make a little video talking about my time there to hopefully help if you are planning on making a trip to the area. I honestly didn't really even want to go to Niagara Falls because I didn't really have a reason to. The only reason I even went was because my mom really wanted to see the falls, and when I asked her where she wanted to go on vacation, that was her answer. So I booked a trip from Tampa to Toronto. We took a WestJet nonstop flight there, and it was decent. I had never flown with WestJet before, and it wasn't the best flight I'd ever been on, but it was affordable and comfortable, so I was happy with it. We landed in Pearson International Airport, and from there we drove our rental car about 2 hours down to the Niagara Falls. In regards to renting a car, I'm not really sure if I recommend it. It was about the same price to rent the car as it was to get a shuttle service from the airport to the hotel. So when looking at that, the rental car definitely gives you more freedom to do whatever and go wherever you want, which completely makes sense if you're planning to go to more places than just the falls, or if wherever you're staying isn't within walking distance. However, in all reality, you don't need a car to get around in Niagara Falls if you're not going anywhere super far. Pretty much everything that you would like to visit or do is within a 30-minute walk of the falls. So bring your walking shoes, but you don't really need a rental. Parking at the attractions around the falls is also kind of expensive, as one would expect. So actually driving everywhere can rack up a pretty big parking tab as well. We stayed at the Oaks Hotel overlooking the falls. I'll put a link to their website down below. This hotel was great. Everything was super clean, the staff was nice, and it was easy to navigate. I didn't use any of the amenities, so I don't really have an opinion on those, but as far as the rooms go, they were spacious, clean, nicely decorated, and pretty well priced, especially for the location and size. I guess that's what I should talk about next, because the hotel was directly overlooking the falls, and it was gorgeous. When booking the hotel, I opted for one of the falls view rooms, which was only a couple of dollars more total, and it was completely worth it. From our window, we could clearly see the falls, and honestly, I don't think the trip would have been as good or the same without it, so I'm so glad I did it. The first day, we got to the hotel at about 6 p.m. After getting settled in, we went to the Applebee's that's directly connected to the front of the hotel and got something for dinner. Although the Applebee's was nice and clean, the food was really expensive, which is something that I was about to learn about the area. The meal I ordered was about 25 Canadian dollars, which at the time of this recording is equivalent to 18.97 US dollars. That meal here, where I'm from in Florida, is about $10 plus tax, which is another thing. For my $25 meal, I paid about $7 in tax, which was really crazy for me because that's almost a 30% tax, where in Tampa, we pay 8%. So it's not anything insane, and obviously those taxes are used for multiple helpful things in Canada, but if you decide to just go, be mindful of how much you will actually be paying for stuff. After that, we decided to walk around near the hotel just to start familiarizing ourselves with the area, but it became dark pretty quickly, and we were tired from our whole day of traveling, so eventually we just went back to the hotel room to relax. When we got there, they had just turned on the lights of the falls, and it was so beautiful. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Around 10 o'clock, they started the nightly fireworks show, and it was spectacular. It was the perfect way to end day one at Niagara Falls. On day two, we woke up and left the hotel to find something for breakfast. When we were driving up to the hotel, I saw an IHOP sign, so we tried to retrace our steps to find it. We learned later that there are like 4 IHOPs in that like 1 mile area, but I'm not going to get into that. The first one we found was the IHOP that is a part of a nearby hotel called the Tower Hotel. The IHOP is then on the 25th floor of that hotel. I think somehow we finessed our way into the VIP part of the IHOP because there was only a couple of other people there, And I know for a fact that there were like larger groups that came in at the same time as us, so I don't know. But the view from that IHOP was amazing as well. From there, we went gift shopping at a place right across the street called OK Gift Shop. They were great, but the prices were not. So if you're trying to get a lot of things, it really isn't worth it because there are much cheaper gift shops at Clifton Hill, and I wish we would have known that because we could have saved like $50 in total, but more on that later. We dropped all the gifts that we brought back at the hotel and then made our way to the falls. From our hotel, the easiest way to get to the falls is via a tram-ish railway thing that takes you from the top of the hill where the hotel is at down to the falls level. It's about $7 per person, and it's much easier than walking all the way around and down the hill. However, if you have a tight budget, it totally isn't necessary. You can just walk around. At the bottom, the tram drops you off at this beautiful like castle looking area that leads into the Niagara Falls National Park entrance, where there are all kinds of gift shops and ticket sales for different attractions. From that area, you then walk out and get to the main viewing area for the Horseshoe Falls. To say that it is a breathtaking view is an understatement. We were there around 11 a.m. and it was already packed, but not uncomfortably. But I definitely noticed that the later it got in the day, the more crowded it got. So if you're not into that, the earlier the better. We spent a good little bit at the viewing area and then started walking up towards the American Falls. The way the space is set up is there's a long walkway with one end at the viewing area and the other about a mile or two up near the bridge that connects the US and Canada. Between those two ends, there are a bunch of different attractions, including the casino, Clifton Hill, and the boat tours, which was our next destination. We walked down and got to the boat tour and took an elevator ride down to the bottom level of the falls. Since we were on the Canadian side of the falls, the tour boat service that we got there were the Hornblower cruises. The cruise was a little more than $20 per person, so not too bad, and the wait was short. It was about 50 minutes, and then we were on our way. The experience was amazing. There is absolutely nothing like getting so far into the Horseshoe Falls that all you can see, feel, and hear is the rumble and vibration of hundreds of thousands of gallons of water crashing all around you. It was extraordinary. Also, expect to get wet. You will get very wet. After the boat tour, we decided to walk a little more, and we ended up walking back up the hill versus going back to the railway, and honestly, what a mistake. It's a terrible trek, 0 out of 10, do not recommend. But we did it and ended up walking across a little park area near the hotel with a nice little shopping center and a food court. There was a black squirrel outside, which was weird. Then we eventually got back to the hotel and settled in for the night. On day 3, we got some breakfast at Tim Hortons, which was really good and honestly the cheapest food I purchased in Canada, so highly recommended. They're literally everywhere. After breakfast, we headed to Clifton Hill. Clifton Hill can be easily described as a fun mini amusement park / fair area a couple minutes from the falls. It's free to enter. However, all of the attractions must be paid, and they're not very expensive individually, but they can quickly add up if you do multiple different attractions. They do have something called like a fun pass or something that gives you a bunch of attractions for a cheaper rate than doing them individually. So if you are interested in that, you can buy one of those. I did not get Fun Pass because I was more interested in just walking around and seeing the area. However, I did do the 3D zombie attack attraction, and honestly, it was pretty fun. I also won. Who's counting? Going back to the souvenirs that I was mentioning earlier, if you have ever been anywhere touristy, you know that there is always somewhere where you can get a lot of souvenirs for a lot cheaper than the bigger stores. Either at like stands on the sidewalk or little walk-in stores. There's always something. Clifton Hill is that place in Niagara Falls. When I was on the boat tours, I purchased the frame. This frame, actually. I purchased this frame. That's me and my mom. But it's super cute. It's like a wooden situation. And it says Niagara Falls, Canada on the bottom. I got this frame for like $15, something like that. I saw the exact same one at one of these little walk-in stores for like $8, so almost half the price. I also bought like 10 keychains for $2 there, so check this place out before you get souvenirs anywhere else, especially at the tourist attraction stores. After we walked around Clifton Hill a little bit more, we walked down towards the falls again and took a little break in a little grassy area. I then had a mini photo shoot there while my mom sat there and made fun of me, but that's not important. The next day, we checked out bright and early and headed back to Toronto. From there, we had another WestJet nonstop back to Tampa. Overall, the trip was a lot of fun. It was an experience that I'm glad I had, and even though it wasn't a destination that I had ever really wanted to go to, I'm happy that the opportunity came along because it was really beautiful and it was something that I will never forget. I highly recommend the trip to anyone who has never done it. It's a pretty affordable international vacation with some great sights and photo opportunities, plus some fun attractions nearby for all ages. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.